Vets and active military families cannot afford to eat food, in spite of Biden pledging $840 billion to the military. So who's to blame for this? Is it Putin and his bloody price hikes, or is it the military-industrial complex are somehow profiting from these budgets? It's got to be Putin, isn't it? Hello there, you 5.7 million awakening wonders. What a voyage we are on. Who knows where it will lead? Hopefully, if we continue to communicate honestly and openly, hopefully, if we continue to continue to respect the validity of opposing views, hopefully, if we remain spiritually optimistic and politically radical, willing to look at genuinely new solutions, we can change the world together. Unless bloody Putin has other ideas. I'm not saying Putin's a good guy. I know Putin's bad. I know. I've seen the real news. I watch it. I've got a TV. I've got a phone. It's on there. Right. So let's see what's going on. Don't you think we're meant to support the troops? Aren't we meant to respect and love the military? People that put their nation, their tribe, their country, their patriotism, they're vulnerable ahead of their own safety. Aren't we supposed to look after them no matter what? Isn't that one of the things that has always been used to underwrite foreign military action? Hasn't it? I don't know. Am I wrong? Let me know. Let's see what the mainstream media are saying about military spending.
It's a true case of more being less. Next year's proposed military spending plan represents a small increase over this year's. Yet, when inflation is factored in, the budget will actually decrease slightly.
It's trying to blag you on the news. Even though it looks like more money, it's actually less money if you consider looking at it from another angle, like those magic eye pictures, where if you squint at it, you'll see this isn't a budget, but it's actually a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
The $715 billion budget proposed for the Pentagon represents a slight increase from fiscal year 2021.
It's only slight.
Yet it actually lags behind the rate of inflation.
It's actually less.
In other words, even though it's an $11 billion increase, it really isn't.
It really isn't. So don't believe your own eyes and ears. Believe the news. They're always doing stuff like this to us, aren't they? Just trying to condition us and cudgel us into believing stuff. You may feel like your life is meaningless, that you're poor, and that it doesn't matter who you vote for, you're going to get the same sort of government that's in the service of big business. But that's your fault. You got addicted to those opioids because of your own fault. That's why you're unhappy, and that's why your wife don't love you no more. It may seem like your wife's left, but look, she's just come back. There she is, sat on the sofa. I'm pretty sure that's the dog. The news are trying to make us go mental with lies.
Is the $715 billion sufficient to carry out the department's mission?
What is the bloody mission? I hope so, mate. It's plenty of money.
This budget provides us the ability to create the right mix of capabilities to defend this nation.
Look how serious they've been. Like, you've got to do some homework. Even, I'd better add a few more clauses to that. This is pretty complicated stuff.
And to deter any aggressors.
You seem pretty serious, mate. What did you do before you had this job? I don't know, a variety of things, really. All just serious stuff to do with having integrity and authenticity. Have you ever worked for a weapons manufacturer? Why don't you list... sorry, I've just better write down some stuff. No more questions.
Pentagon leaders steered clear Thursday of specifics when they appeared before the House Appropriations Military Subcommittee.
This would all be well and good, all this. I understand what inflation is. I understand mathematics is complicated. I know coming up with a humanitarian and military budget in a geopolitical conflict that has a variety of causes and no doubt has an opponent in Putin that is a nefarious character isn't something that's easily conveyed. But I'd feel a lot better if I knew these two things for sure. One, no one that's turning up on the news claiming to be objective has ever worked for Lockheed Martin or Raytheon or any of those weapons manufacturing giants. And two, that military veterans and current military personnel are not starving to death.
Still, based upon the vague details that are known, subcommittee Republicans were not impressed, warning that the budget is actually far too low.
It's too low. We need more. We need more money. Why is that? Because I used to work for Raytheon and they spend a lot of the stuff.
When you consider the massive readiness and modernization challenges facing all our services and the pace by which China is developing its military capability.
China as well, though. Did you forget about China? Putin, then there's China. If you just keep squinting, you'll see that I'm right about everything. And look, there's a dinosaur and a pyramid.
This request, in my opinion, is insufficient.
You're so bloody ungrateful. You've had 780 billion or whatever the hell it is. Just say thank you and fuck off and do your war.
Mike Gooding, 13 News Now.
Whether this budget is too much or not enough or doesn't account for inflation, one thing I'd like to be assured of is that military personnel are not starving to death because they ain't got enough food. Military families are reporting housing, health and financial challenges according to a survey released by the Military Family Advisory Network, which found that nearly a quarter of enlisted families are experiencing food insecurity and that more than 60% of respondents pay more than they can comfortably afford for housing. I remember when I used to just be disgusted that veterans weren't taken care of, that a significant portion of homeless folk are veterans. I used to think, oh, that don't seem right, that on the way in you're telling them you're our best and our brightest, you're the wind beneath our wings, you're the best thing about America or the UK or France or whatever country it is you're trying to propagandise the population of. Then on the way out, sleep over there, you'll have to piss in that gutter. Why don't you just eat a packet of crisps? Now, while they're actually doing it, there's so much money being siphoned off to Raytheon or Lockheed Martin or wherever else, they ain't got enough money to pay the people that are actually doing the military action. 1/5 of active service families and nearly 40% of veteran families surveyed reported less than $500 of emergency savings or no emergency savings funds. And over 3/4 of military families indicated that they carry debt. Wouldn't the minimum that you would do in a sophisticated, civilized nation be look after the people who you're asking to risk their lives for the betterment of your nation? Unless, of course, you use the idea of betterment of your nation as a mask for the betterment of certain corporate objectives, in which case, I suppose you wouldn't really care what happened to the military personnel as long as they were able to be paraded out on appropriate occasions and distract from what's actually happening to the money. Almost 40,000 veterans are without shelter in the US on any given night. 40,000. That's a medium-sized town worth of veterans just sleeping outside every night in the United States of America. Wouldn't you, on day one of a truly patriotic administration, say, firstly, we're going to look after veterans. We're going to make sure that people that are working in the military right now are properly paid, looked after, fed, clothed, all their debts cancelled. And if you've ever served in the military, we're going to look after you for the rest of your life and provide you with support and ensure when you're back on Civvy Street, you'll be taken care of and work will be found that will use your brilliant skills and ability for self-sacrifice. They can't even achieve under the rubric that they propagate. They tell us this is what our values are. Strong foreign policy, strong military, support the troops, value the troops. And then they can't even deliver on that because they don't really believe it. The leading cause of homelessness among vets are PTSD, social isolation, unemployment and substance abuse. Veterans account for 11% of homeless adults in the United States. 11%. If you walk past 10 homeless people, and you will, one of them was a vet who was previously in service. And when they list, PTSD, social isolation, substance abuse, that's what people do when they're traumatized, for example, in a war or a combat zone, or even in the event of not being in combat, the kind of conditions that are likely experienced if you are in the military. Congress's plan is to authorize a record-setting $838.8 billion in spending, not to the American people, but to the Pentagon. As happens nearly every year, more than half of this sum will likely go to Pentagon contractors. Remember Julian Assange's equation. The function of government is to take money from you, the public, and place it in private hands. Aren't we told that we pay taxes in order to contribute to society? That's what I've been told my whole life. Maybe my country is a little bit different from yours. I recognise that. But I pay taxes. That means the streets are getting looked after. There's facilities for people that need it. If I go to hospital, I'm going to get looked after properly. There's a good police force that can be trusted and that are integrated into the community. All of these things we just assume. What they should tell us is the absolute truth. We're taking your money and we're giving it to Lockheed Martin. And if you're going to argue with us, guess what? We've got fucking missiles. Pentagon spending has totaled over $14 trillion since the start of the war in Afghanistan, with 1/2 of the total going to military contractors. Under those circumstances, the Afghanistan war was not a failure. A large portion of these contracts, 1/4 to 1/3 of all Pentagon contracts in recent years, have gone to just 5 major corporations. How often do you hear that phrase, 5 major corporations? Whether it's in big tech, or in military industrial complex, or in media, they can handle about 5. That seems to be the magic number, doesn't it? Of we've got these many people that are doing the bidding of the state, they're integrated with state objectives. Everyone else, good luck out there. And here are those 5. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, General Dynamics, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman. Wouldn't you like to know, every time you see someone on the news, straight up front, before you tell us how we need to do this war or that war, or how there's not enough money being spent on this war, or how we're not going to be effective unless you give us more money, have you ever worked for, I'm just going to do a list, only 5, so it's not going to take long, here they are, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, General Dynamics, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman. Yes, yes, no, yes, hope to work for them after this, actually. In 2020, the largest Pentagon contractor, Lockheed Martin, took in $75 billion from taxpayers and paid its CEO more than $23 million. Now, in a true democracy, wouldn't you love to see a vote? Just one you could do on your phone. We're taking $75 billion and we're giving it to Lockheed Martin. Now, of that $75 billion, do you want to pay $23 million to the CEO? Yes or no? Oh, no! The average taxpayer contributed about $2,000 to the military last year. More than 900 of that went to corporate military contractors. So just under half of your tax dollars that are supposed to be going to the military go to contractors. So essentially, you might as well just, I don't know, why don't you just save it up and buy yourself a missile, fire it at yourself or the sun, do whatever you want with it. Joe Biden blamed the $1,400 stimulus checks for causing inflation, even though the provision's total cost $391 billion, was less than the amount Biden's first and second military budgets will likely divert to for-profit military contractors, $405 billion and $425 billion, respectively. Notice the framing here. Frame the idea that it was stimulus checks given to ordinary people that are causing inflation, rather than a far more significant number that go into private contractors, i.e. the problem is ordinary, normal people. The solution is the private sector. Notice how often you're given versions of that story. Right, well, let's just make sure that there are no members of Congress that own stocks and shares in military industrial complex companies, because that would be an additional problem and an additional obstacle in getting justice and clarity. 51 members of Congress and their spouses own up to $5.8 million worth of defense contractor stocks. So there you go. There's another layer of potential corruption, potential self-interest, potential obstacles to true democracy, to true principles of representative government. They represent the ordinary people. Or do they represent Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and the companies that they personally invest in? Let me know in the comments below. Weapons makers have spent $2.5 billion on lobbying over the past 2 decades, employing on average 700 lobbyists per year over the past 5 years. That is more than one for every member of Congress. That means every member of Congress has got someone lobbying them, and there's some other people just milling about, lobbying the lobbyists. Could you lobby that guy a little harder? Come on, spend some money. Vote for us to have more money. Come on, get that budget a little higher. Come on, you can do it. You're doing great lobbying over there. Okay, I'm lobbying as hard as I can. Lobby harder. Lobby harder. Hey, you don't need to lobby me that hard. I've already got shares in Lockheed Martin. 73% of the lobbyists employed by defense companies in 2020 formerly worked in federal government. They already know each other. Hold on a minute. Am I meant to be lobbying you, or are you meant to be lobbying me? Why don't we just lobby each other? No other sector has a high percentage of lobbyists who also worked in government. So do you see the idea that there are distinct, discrete categories, one called, military manufacturers and one called the government? In a way, it's pretty amorphous, isn't it? 1 minute they're working here, next minute they're on the news advocating for it. They're owning shares, they're lobbying, you're lobbying you. Hey, you was lobbying me last week, let me lobby you back, and I'm going to lobby you a lot harder than you lobbied me. I'm just getting over the lobbying you gave me last week. Look at Nancy Pelosi. She's been lobbied into the middle of next month. Microphone down.
Absolutely not.
Many may be unaware that the major part of the defense industry's business model is selling arms to other countries with the blessing of the US Congress and State Department. We bless you. Oh, what for? Spreading love? Connection? Togetherness? Well, actually, we were going to sell some missiles to other countries. God bless America. Often those arms are developed using taxpayer money. We've used your money to develop these missiles. Great, that's great, well done. What are you going to do now? We're going to sell them to these guys with the government's blessing. God bless America. Could we have any of that money? No, we're going to need more of your money to pay for lobbying. Hey, are you meant to be lobbying me? No, I lobbied you. We'll both just lobby each other. Since 2017, Saudi Arabia has become the second biggest buyer of US arms. Saudi Arabia also benefits from the influence wielded by major US arms manufacturers that would like to sell to them. Just 4 of the biggest companies received 90% of promised sales between 2009 and 2019. Those 4, get ready for the list, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, General Dynamics and Boeing, also happen to make up 4 of the top 5 defense-related companies spending the most on lobbying, pouring over $10 million each into their policy influence efforts in 2020 alone. So not only do they get to allocate budgets, presumably, or at least influence the allocation of those internal domestic budgets for foreign affairs and foreign campaigns of varying legitimacy, some things super important and that and others less so, they also help grease the wheels of foreign deals for weapons that have been developed by you. Same as I remember from the pandemic. When it's time to develop these medicines, it's your responsibility and your money. When it's time to profit from these medicines, oh, suddenly it's their money. Do you see how it works? The function of government is to take money from public hands and put it into private hands. Just watch for that template. It's a useful tool. Anyway, the good news is with this constant arms race escalating and increasing tensions between Russia and America, soon, hopefully, we'll have a nice big nuclear war to look forward to. Here's some tips for how to survive it.
So there's been a nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why.
Actually, we'll ask how and why. Those are my first questions. How? Why? Don't ask me how or why. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, it just became too profitable, so we had one. Don't ask how or why, or where you're going to get some cream from those birds, or what happened to all your family. Those things are irrelevant now.
Just know that the big one has hit, okay? So what do? There are 3 important steps that I want you to remember. Step 1, get inside.
Oh shit, look at that mushroom cloud. Honey, you better go inside. There is no inside.
Get inside fast.
Fast.
You, your friends, your family.
Friends, family, get inside. Why? Is it time for dinner? Only if you consider radiation sickness to be dinner.
Get inside. And no, staying in the car is not an option.
Can I just stay in the car? Get a better view of the old apocalypse.
You need to get into a building.
Building. I get it. Inside a building.
And move away from the windows.
Can I just watch out the windows as society finally crumbles, as nature and all of its sweet bounty is disintegrated? No. Properly inside. Stop trying to enjoy the apocalypse.
Step 2. Stay inside.
All right, I've got inside. Can I immediately go back outside again and enjoy this apocalypse? This public information film seems to assume that our main priority when there's a nuclear apocalypse is getting out there and bloody well enjoying it. That's not my attitude. Mine's, oh no, you maniacs, you blew it up. I'm going full Planet of the Apes.
Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there.
Okay, so what should we do? Conservatory, or look out the window, or maybe fly a kite? No, you don't seem to have understood. There's a nuclear attack, we're all gonna die, get yourself into some hideous little hovel and wait for death.
If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible.
Honey, get the tape measure. Right, so the circumference of this was divided by, I think I'm in the center of the building. Well, I don't know. I mean, the radiation sickness is kicking in pretty strong.
If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately.
Can't we use that sofa throw? Yeah, get under that. We can get about 30 people under that. Thank God we got this parachute-sized fucking blanket. We can all die under that.
Remove and bag all outer clothing.
I don't think it was worth making this video. I don't think we get any information here that's going to make the post-apocalyptic hell any more useful. I want to say, this is how to eat rats. This is how to eat each other. This is how to cope with the existential despair and fury at the society that unnecessarily caused this war.
To keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body.
By now, you've finished your vicious recriminations against the institutions that did this, and you'll be thinking about how to wash your hair. Take 2 bottles into the shower. No need. Your hair's gonna fall out in a minute.
Step 3. Stay tuned. Follow media for more information.
Fucking hell, I don't trust them when there's not a nuclear apocalypse. Can you imagine what they're going to be like afterwards? Well, Americans, it may look like there's been a nuclear attack, but let me tell you, when you adjust for inflation, what's happening out there is not actually that bad. See them little birds tumbling from their nests and dying? That's kind of like confetti.
Don't forget to sign up for Notify NYC for official alerts and updates.
Oh, I better sign up to Notify NYC. Oh, Jesus, what's that noise?
And don't go outside.
Can I go outside yet? I'm getting a real hankering to look outside at that mushroom cloud and that ball of fire that's destroying the neighborhood. I'm gonna tell you again, stay inside, get in the fucking middle of the room.
Until officials say it's safe.
Officials? They're the motherfuckers that caused this problem.
All right. You've got this.
I don't know that we have got this, have we? I think what's going to happen is we're all going to die because we refuse to take on board these obvious facts. All humanity is one family. If we govern our own communities, there's no need to have centralized organizations having wars that are based primarily on resources and needless territorial conflicts. We could all be living in harmony and peace. In fact, I'm not going to watch this video anymore. Where's she going? Now, excuse me, I'm going back outside. Did you just watch this fucking video? There you go, and that's how to follow all of the post-apocalyptic administrative bodies in the event of a nuclear war that's being caused by unnecessary provocation and territorial wars and an unwillingness to affect that there are different regions in the world that should probably be self-governing. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should the military be looked after during their time in service and during their time as veterans? Should we be organising society around some better core values? And in the event of a nuclear war, I'm not clear. Is it okay for me to stay outside or just be on a skateboard and survey the situation? I'm still not sure. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. Turn on the notification bell. It's vital that we are able to tell you every time we release a video, which we do every day. Remember, sign up for our mailing list. We do live events online and in real life. And if we make some big moves, I want you to know about it first. Stay free.